You wrote me love notes, sweet and dry, on paper crisp and clean. I try to write you one back, but you know what I mean. The ink just bled and wandered like a flood across the line. My thoughts don't sit in margins, they just overflow and twine. My dictionary's wet and worn, its pages soft as silk. The definition shift with every new layer that's built. Lonely means a hollow knock of a loose branch on a hoe. Home is just a certain scent when the backwater's full. My dictionary's wet and worn from the river's tongue. I know forever is a seal bank where the restless currents go. Tomorrow is a morning fog that clinging to the shore. Betrayal is a sudden drop where the smooth bottom's no more. Yeah, you can keep your Webster's with its words so sharp and neat. My words are damp and heavy, they have currents, they have heat. They're translated from the water and the whisper in the cane. They carry the old hunger and the memory of pain. I don't describe a feeling, I just point to where it grows. Sad as a rain-rotted cabin where the honeysuckle blows. Mad as a hornet's nest knocked loose in the drifting skiff. My similes are anchored in this unpredictable riff of life along the river, where the only constants change and the language has to bend and stretch, be beautiful and strange. My dictionary's wet and worn. Sometimes I think in colors that the town folks never see. The gray of a possum's belly, the black of a cypress knee, the flash and silver promise of a fish that got away, the bruised and purple thunder at the end of a long day. My mind is just a tributary of that great and muddy flow, and the words I have are all the things the rivers taught me to know. So if my love confuses you, if my anger don't make sense, just know it's from a deeper place with a different evidence. My dictionary's wet and worn, I can't speak another way. I'm sorry and I'm not for the things I struggle to say. I'm speaking the river's tongue until my breath is gone. It's the only mother language that I've ever depended on. Wet pages, faded script on my soul, the water's grip. Got your cross around your neck, a symbol thin and fine. I got a copper snake that coils around this heart of mine. It don't bring peace, it brings the truth, a bitter sharp delight. It sees the venom in the world and doesn't turn from night. You pray for angels' gentle wings to carry you above. I make my peace with darker things, I offer different love to spirits of the here and now, to what I touch and feel. Not stories in a dusty book, but something raw and real. Yeah, I bow to different idols in a temple without walls. When the evening shadows lengthen and the lonely nightfall calls, I don't say holy, holy, no. I whisper other names to gods of dirt and consequence, to everlasting flames. I bow to the ghost trains echo fading down the rusted track, to the willow's deep reflection in the water blue and black, to the snake's old silent knowledge of the poison and the cure. My faith is less than certain, but I know that it's pure, my own kind of pure. pure. When sorrow comes a knocking like a cold and steady rain, I don't look up to heaven for to take away the pain. I go and sit with old man Willow, let him teach me how to bend, to let the current take me in, to weep and to mend. He don't preach no sermons, he just sways and understands the economy of heartache in these unforgiving lands. He's my saint of letting go, my prophet of the sigh. Beneath his tangled teardrop leaves I feel less like I'll die. Yeah, I bow to different idols, and when I need the courage just to pack my bags and flee, to be the one who does the leaving and to finally be free, I call upon the ghost train, hear its lonesome distant scream. It's the patron saint of exit of the unfulfilled dream. It don't judge me for my running, it just offers up the track, a silver path through darkness with no turning ever back. It's the holiest of spirits to a restless roaming soul, the only God who offers me a never-ending goal. So let them call me heathen, let them say my soul's astray. I've got a faith that walks with me by night and by the day. I bow to different idols and they answer when I call. The snake, the tree, the train, they'll catch me when I fall, with a wisdom that's more ancient than their brand new sheeny church. Leave me to my path and answer your own damn search. You go on Sunday morning where the stained glass paints the light. You pray to saints in plaster who are shining clean and white. But my knees have never touched a pew of polished factory oak. My soul answers to older tongues, a different kind of folk. I don't need a priest investments to interpret my despair. My gods are in the whisper of the midnight swampy air. My cathedral has no steeple, it's the bend where the river runs deep. My choir is a whistle of the promises I couldn't keep. I don't pray to Peter at no pearl and golden gate. I kneel down at the altar of what's destined and what's fate. Yeah, my cathedral has no steeple, but it's holy in its gloom. It's the sacred shadowed sanctuary of this long, lonely room of my heart. You light a candle for your soul, a tiny hopeful flame. I leave an offering of rust and speak a different name. Not Mary or Saint Christopher, who guards you on your road. My guardian's a copper snake who shares my secret load. A wisdom that can poison, of a truth that has a sting, the kind of knowing that don't help with any earthly thing. but it's real, it's in the bloodstream. It's a cold and ancient god that lives beneath the floorboards in the fertile blackened sod. My cathedral has no steeple, when I need forgiveness for the love I had to kill. I don't seek no absolution from a man upon a hill. I go down to the weeping willow, let her tendrils brush my face. She understands the weight of tears, of sorrow and the grace of bending but not breaking in the flood and in the drought. She's the goddess of resilience, there is never any doubt. She's my saint of salty rivers and of memories that last, a greener, softer savior from a far more gentle past. Coming, that's a calling just for me. It don't promise no salvation, just a journey through the night, a symbol of the leaving and the fading of the light. My cathedral has no steeple, but it reaches just as high into the dark and white of my personal sky, with my own pantheon to guide me till I lay my burden down, my own pantheon in this delta town. For the snake, the tree, the train, and the rain, my private prayer in the thick night air. You sang me pretty melodies from some Broadway stage, but they couldn't calm the tempest, they couldn't soothe the rage that comes from knowing darkness, like the backwater knows night, from seeing things move sideways just outside the firelight. My comfort ain't a sonnet, my peace ain't a rhyme. I got a backwater lullaby sung in swamp thick time. It's the chorus of the frogs when the last lights bled away. It's the creak of an old boat at the end of a long day. I got a backwater lullaby, honey in the river's tongue. It ain't a song you whistled when your days were young. It's the buzz of a mosquito, the plop of a sinking log, the hiss of a slow leak in a rain-soaked bog. It says, hush now, child, the world is mean and wide, but the mud will hold you close here on the silty underside. Yeah, my lullaby's a whisper from the roots beneath the tree, and it's the only melody that ever comforted me. I swear words ain't for shocking, they're for planting like a seed. May a patch of poison oak grow from every selfish deed. May a path be crossed by wolf's bane, where you think the walking's clear. My insults come from riverbank, they're rooted deep in fear and respect for things that bite and sting and twist and burn. A different kind of wisdom that a city fool can't learn. I got a backwater lullaby. When my soul gets restless and my mind just won't be still, I don't need no preacher standing on a dusty hill. I go down to the river, let the water lick my feet, and the language of the current makes the chaos feel complete. It don't preach no salvation, it don't promise paradise. It just says I'm older, I'm deeper, I'm the rolling of the dice. And that's enough, that's my theology, my creed, written in the water weed. So let the world sing opera, let it play a symphony. My soul's tuned to a different key. I got a backwater lullaby, it's in my blood and breathe. A cradle song that marks a polished, pretty fear of death. It's the river's tongue, it's ancient and it's raw and it is true, and it's the only song I'll ever sing for you or for me. Lullaby of a murk and mire, lullaby of the deep desire, sung in the river's tongue, of water and of fire. You got your saint who finds your keys, your saint who guards your child. My saints are less domestic and their methods are more wild. I don't need help with losing things or keeping something near. My specialty is disappearance, and my favorite saint is clear. Is the ghost train at the crossing, with his whistle sharp and long, the holiest of harbingers that something's going wrong. Or right, depends on perspective. He's the saint of second thoughts, of packed bags in the hallway, and of battles never fought. He's the blessing of the exit, the amen to my adieu, the only spirit who approves of what I have to do. Hail the patron saints are leaving, of the gone and of the through, Saint Ghost Train and Saint Copper Snake and Saint Willow weeping blue. They don't pray for reconciliation, for a happy mended start. They preside over the surgery of breaking a heart, or having it be broken prove to be my friends. Yeah, the patron saints are leaving in my personal cathedral of pain. The ones who help me gather up the shards and leave again. Saint Coppersnake, he doesn't love, he knows that is his gift, the gift of seeing clearly through the sentimental rift. He whispers when it's poison, when the well is running dry. He's the saint of cold hard logic with a bright unblinking eye. And when the knowing turns to aching and the logic turns to tears, Saint Willow takes me in her arms and soothes away the fears. She's the saint of what comes after, of the bend and not the break, the tender green companion for the poor decisions that I make. Hail, the patron saints are leaving. Some people have a guardian angel, soft and winged and fair. I've got a pantheon of shadows always with me everywhere. They don't promise me a mansion on some bright and distant shore. They just help me walk the bloody footprints right out of the door, and down the track and through the swamp and under the tree. They are the only family that ever stood by me in my endless private exodus from places I called home. A nomadic congregation in the night where I roam. Hail, the patron saints are leaving. Pour them out a shot of gin. There to see me in and out of doors, and out and in again. Saint Ghost Train, Saint Coppersnake, Saint Willow, boo your head. Another chapter's closing, another love is dead, and we move on, my panther and me, the sacred motley crew, believing only in the things that we ourselves can do. With a little help from saints who understood the goodbye. All aboard for the saints of the sword and the loose train boards. They offer me their ribbons, their delicate perfume. They live in rooms of crystal, chasing away the gloom. They speak in easy platitudes, in verses sweet and kind, but they never understand the workings of this homespun heart of mine. It's stitched with threads of resilience, patched with scraps of pride. It's colored with the mud of roads where I have walked and cried. It ain't a fancy valentine, all lacy and refined. It's a working, beating, sturdy thing, this homespun heart of mine. This homespun heart of mine wasn't cut from their fine cloth. It wasn't shaped for gentle hands or soothed by easy trough. It's made for early rising and for bearing up the load, for walking down the loneliest and roughest of the road. Yeah, it's homespun and it's humble, and it often feels alone in a world of store-bought sentiments and voices on the phone. But Sometimes I wish it fit me in the way their silks fit them, without a constant chafing at the sentimental hem. To feel a part of circles, to belong without a fight, to walk into a room and feel the atmosphere just right. But this heart of mine's a rebel, it's a pioneer, you see. It was woven on a different loom for someone just like me, for someone who finds beauty in the raw and undesigned. So I'll learn to wear this homespun heart and leave their cloth behind, this homespun heart of mine. Shore where the other misfits meet, where the cloth is rough and beautiful and bitter turns to sweet, I'll find a soul who recognizes in this coarse and simple line the priceless perfect pattern of this homespun heart of mine. Until that day I'll hold it close, this gift, this cross, this art, this stubborn, sacred, aching, homespun heart. So let the world wear satin, let the world wear lace, I'll wear this homespun heart right here upon my face, for all to see the texture of my truth, my fall, my climb, the glorious, unfashionable grace of this homespun heart of mine. I was cut from the wrong cloud for their fading, fickle chin, but I was cut exactly right to be my own best friend, this homespun heart of mine. Homespun and real, the only fabric I can feel. They're playing Cole Porter, dancing cheek to cheek so fine, in a world of champagne setting that was never meant for mine. I'm standing by the punch bowl in my gingham checker blue, a simple, sturdy cotton thought in a dizzy velvet zoo. My dress is for the farmhouse, for the morning milk and eggs, not for whisper compliments and gentlemen who beg for a dance with someone dainty, not a girl whose hands are rough from hanging out the laundry and other country stuff. I'm gingham in a satin world, a square peg, don't you see, cut from the wrong cloth for this high society. They talk of Paris fashions, I talk of rainfall and of crows, where they see a fine impression, my honest stubbornness just shows. Yeah, gingham in a satin world, I stick out like a weed, a practical and honest thing for a glamorous, flashy breed. So pardon if I stumble through this polished, slick routine. My roots are in the pasture, in a dress of calico and lean. I tried to starch and press myself to make the corners sharp, to mimic their vague mystery, to play the precious harp. But my laugh broke through the phonograph. My walk had too much stride. I was a workhorse on parade with nowhere left to hide. The satin girls, they pity me with sweet and condescending smiles, while I'm calculating acreage and counting up the miles between their world of artifice and where I truly live. A place where I have something real and positive to give. I'm Jingham in a satin world. But sometimes late at night, when all their mascara runs and the phonograph needle skips on empty, loveless ones, they look at me, this gingham girl who knows a solid thing, who isn't terrified of what the next new season brings. And for a flash I see a envy in their tired, painted eyes, for the simple, sturdy fabric neath the fancy, darkening skies. But the moment passes quickly, the music starts anew, and I'm the odd one out again in my dependable blue. So let them have their sign, let them have their Paris nights. I'm Jingham through and through, and I'm turning out the lights on this charade. I'm going home to where the cloth makes sense, to a world of need and nurturing, not subtle pretense. I'm Jingham, baby, sturdy, washable and true, and this satin world can keep its shiny, lonely view. I was cut from the wrong cloth for you. Checkered in plain, in the sun, in the rain, the right claw. After all, just not for this bowl. They speak of halos golden bright and miracles of old. My miracles are quieter and often bitter cold. The miracle of waking up and facing one more day. The miracle of keeping all the ugly words at bay. I don't have cherubs hovering or visions bright and grand. I got a council of the lost here in this sinking land, a pantheon of weathered things that time has left behind, the only holy comfort that this weary soul can find. My saints are made of rust and riverbank. You see, they're as forgotten as forgotten as a girl like me. This mournful silver song, Saint Copper Snake of wisdom, telling right from wrong, and Saint Willow of the weeping, with her arms so soft and green, the only holy trinity that I have ever seen. Yeah, my saints are rust and riverbank. They don't demand a fee, just honesty and maybe a cup of coffee with me. Just watch the fireflies dancing like lost spirits neath the deep indigo skies. My confessional's a back porch where the moonlight tells my sins to the katydids and crickets as the cool night breeze begins. And I feel the copper snake stir in the pocket of my mind, whispering you knew the outcome, love, you weren't ever blind. And the willow sighs her comfort from the darkness by the stream, while the ghost train's faint vibration is the fabric of my dream. My saints are made of rust and riverbank. Sometimes I think I made them up to keep from going mad, to give a shape and name to all the good luck and the bad. But it don't matter if they're real in any Bible sense. They're real to me, they're my defense against the empty nothing of a world that don't explain the reason for the sunshine or the reason for the rain. My personal mythology, my anchor and my spark, my light inside the terrifying, overwhelming dark. Teach me how to swim in the current of a life that's often brutal, often grim. My saints, a rusting riverbank, my strange and loyal band, the guardians of a woman in a strange and lonely land. So I'll keep my sons rust. Schoolhouse tried to teach me words, all boxed and squared and right, but the letters wouldn't stick to me, they vanished in the night. They didn't have the cadence of the current on the stones, or the groan of a old oak when the wind picks up its moans. My teacher wore a cotton dress and pointed at the board, but my real teacher was the river, and it never seemed bored. It whispered through my sleeping ear, it sang into my blood, a language understood by catfish, cottonmouth and mud. Yeah, the river taught my mouth to shape the sound. Where your love is just one syllable, my love is slow and drowned. It's a space between the crickets when the owl begins its sweep. It's a promise of a flood time when the water's running deep. The river taught my mouth, my yes is like a rising tide, my no is like a bank that's worn too thin to hold inside. So don't ask for pretty speeches, don't demand a clear reply. The truth is in the undertow, beneath the clouded sky. I feel a fever in the air before the weatherman can tell. My bones ache with a story that the almanac won't spell. A twinge right in my shoulder means a north wind's on its way. The throbbing in my temple speaks of rain by end of day. You call it superstition, you might call it a lie, but the river talks in pressures to the earth and to the sky. And I'm its best translator, I'm its vessel and its scribe, telling fortunes in the aches that travel through my tribe. Yeah, the river taught my mouth to shape the sound. Yeah, when you cross me, baby, let me standing in the cold. My curse wasn't devil take you, a story too oft told. I whispered snake root in your gravy, belladonna in your tea, words that grow in shadow where the river bends by me. My rabbit is botanical it's rooted in the swamp. A quiet green intention that your city mind can't stomp. So I don't need your grammar, don't need your syntax rules. I'm fluent in the dialect of alligators and a pools. The river taught my mouth, and it's the only tongue I trust. It's honest in its violence, and it's tender in its rust. So listen to the water, or get gone from where I stand. I speak the mother language of this slow sinking land, shaping the sound on the low wet ground, the river's tongue. Yeah. You came from Memphis City with your dictionary words, your sentences all polished like the song of city birds. You say exquisite darling, and you talk of future tense, but my vocabulary started making its own sense. Down by the muddy water, where the willows dip and weep, I learned a conversation that is slow and dark and deep. I don't talk like the town girls do, with their chatter light and heat. My tongue is a river's tongue, honey sluggish, bittersweet. I don't say storms are coming, my left knee begins to whine. My goodbye is a rusted hinge on a rotted riverside pine. Yeah, you speak in pretty nothings, but my words have root and mud, and a silence that means more than any crowd and neighborhood. So listen to the water if you wanna know my mind, 'cause a river's tongue is the only kind I'm speaking now you'll find. You compliment my languid eyes, my mystery, my grace. You're reading from a romance book, you're looking at the wrong place. My eyes just read the water lines on a cypress sunken trunk. My mystery is knowing where the riverbank has sunk, and my grace is just the patience of the heron in the reeds. A different kind of language, born of different kinds of needs. I don't talk like the town girls do. My mama's lullaby was the bullfrog's midnight choir. My alphabet, the insect tracks in the cool, forgetful mire. So when I curse you, darling, don't expect a common phrase. It'll be poison ivy, climb your heart for all your lying days. Or may the water hemlock find the spring you call your soul. My anger's from the riverbank, and it takes a heavy toll. So say says it all. You wrote me love notes, sweet and dry, on paper crisp and clean. I tried to write you one back, but you know what I mean. The ink just bled and wandered like a flood across the line. My thoughts don't sit in margins, they just overflow and twine. My dictionary's wet and worn, its pages soft as silk. The definitions shift with every new layer that's built. Lonely means the hollow knock of a loose branch on a hole. Home is just a certain scent when the backwater's full. My dictionary's wet and worn from the river's tongue, I know. Forever is a silk bank where the restless currents go. Tomorrow is a morning fog that clinging to the shore. Betrayal is a sudden drop where the smooth bottom's no more. Yeah, you can keep your Webster's with his words so sharp and neat. My words are damp and heavy, they have currents, they have heat. They're translated from the water and the whisper in the cane. They carry the old hunger and the memory of pain. I don't describe a feeling, I just point to where it grows. Sad as a rain-rotted cabin where the honeysuckle blows. Mad as a hornet's nest knocked loose into the drifting skiff. My similes are anchored in this unpredictable riff of a life along the river, where the only constants change and the language has to bend and stretch, be beautiful and strange. My dictionary's wet and warm. Sometimes I think in colors that the town folks never see. The gray of a possum's belly, the black of a cypress knee, the flashing silver promise of a fish that got away, the bruised and purple thunder at the end of a long day. My mind is just a tributary of that great and muddy flow, and the words I have are all the things the rivers taught me to know. So if my love confuses you, if my anger don't make sense, just know it's from a deeper place with a different evidence. My dictionary's wet and worn, I can't speak another way. I'm sorry and I'm not for the things I struggle to say. I'm speaking the river's tongue until my breath is gone. It's the only mother language that I've ever depended on. Wet pages, faded script on my soul. The waters crip. Медленный душ раздирающий блюз, с мощным вокалом и струнной секцией. There's a thread that doesn't match, a color harsh and bold, a story that was never meant within this frame be told. It's me, I'm the discord, I'm the note that's sung too flat, I'm the memory of a struggle that the picture smoothed out pat. I don't blend in the background of church socials and tea, I'm the hint of a wild river where they want a placid sea. I'm a thread that doesn't match, a spoiled perfect view, cut from the wrong cloth in a different darker hue. They try to weave around me, try to hide me in the scene, but I catch the light all sideways, and I trouble every dream of a seamless, quiet pattern of a life that's neat and sure. I'm a fraying, raw reminder that some hearts must endure a rougher kind of weaving from a much more tangled skein, a thread that doesn't match and always causes pain. My love was too demanding, not a gentle pastel shade. It was crimson like a warning in the choices that I made. My grief was not a muted gray, it was a black so deep and wide. It threatened to unravel all the fabric from inside. So they snipped me loose, or tried to, left me dangling in the air, a single strange inclusion that they didn't want to bear. Now I hang here on the outskirts of their finished pretty scene, a testament to something raw and honest and unclean. I'm a thread that doesn't match. Perhaps I'm from a different quilt, one made for colder nights, for hands that aren't afraid of pulls or unanticipated lights. A blanket for a warrior, or a shroud for one who's real, not this decorative tableau that's forgotten how to feel. So I'll gather my own tension, I'll spin my own design, a fabric made of shadow and of stubbornness and spine. And if I never find my cloth, my pattern, or my place, at least I'll be a truth that time cannot erase. I'm a thread that doesn't match, a spoil from the path, the unforgiving texture in the palm. Master says I was cut from the wrong cloth by a cutter